Hi, my name is Heather Martinez and I'm going to be writing with the TwinOne. And this is one marker, two nibs, 6 lettering styles, and let's see how long I can do it, shall we? All right, so first of all, before I get started writing any letters, let's talk a little bit about the anatomy of the nib. So one side we have the brush marker, and we have what's called the broad edge of the brush marker, and we have the tip. And on the other side, we have a chisel nib, and again, we have the broad edge of a marker, and we have the tip of the nib. And these are the two sides that I'm going to be using as I write 6 different lettering styles. So start your timer, and let's start out with brush letter using the brush end of the marker. All right, so this is brush letter. And the thing to remember when you're doing brush letter is thick down, thin up. And I'm writing on the art marker page. It's so hard to talk and write at the same time. And here I can start to put in serifs, crossbars, other serifs. Anyway, I'm using the hand lettering learning pad to go to write this. So I'm using these guides, and I designed these guidelines specifically for the brush marker. Let's stop here, start here. Interesting thing about the K is it has 3 different marker angles. So for the most part, I am holding my marker up and to the left as I do this. And notice that every time I finish a stroke, I end here, halfway up. Again, trying my best to have all of these uprights, meaning these stems, match along, and I'll give you 2 different versions of the R, as well as two different versions of the letter S. Trying to match these diagonal lines, or these slope lines, because when I started first learning brush lettering, this was the hardest part. Notice that with the V's, the W's, they all have high connections. And again, remember, the key to brush lettering is thick and thin. And for the Z, I can do a fancy Z like this, which isn't very readable, or that one. So there is brush letter. Oops. Using the 601, let's do some sign painter. Let's see. Notice that I'm doing a little bit smaller. It's because the nib on the TwinOne is slightly smaller than on the number 1 art marker. And this is approximately how fast I would go. Letter S, if I were graphic recording. Notice how much faster it is than brush letter. Brush letter takes a lot more time. Go. And with the gray, let's do something fun. Let's do Twinkle. And we'll do all lowercase on Twinkle here. And again, Twinkle is super fast. Using serifs. I'm not even following the guidelines at all, because in this case, it's all about speed. When you make, for Twinkle, you can dot your eyes however you want, but originally I designed it to be little stars. And notice these little serifs on the M and the N. They're only to the left. the top. And again, these can bounce, they can have different proportions, and this is really based on your lettering style. So you can have a lot of fun with this. And they can be totally wacky. Sometimes I like to end them with a little bit of flair and a little bit of fun. All right, so now switching over to the wedge nib, we're gonna go on this side, and let's do thick thin script, which looks a lot like brush letter. And the reason why it looks like brush letter is because, again, we're using the same form. And we're using the idea of thick down, like that, and thin up. And again, following these same slope lines so that we have even and consistent stems. Watch this. Play with those thicks and thins. And notice that each time I make a stroke, this isn't cursive, this is script. And so for the thick downs, I'm using that broad edge. For the thin up, I'm using that corner tip of the nib. I'm actually just using this part here. Two different versions of R. S. You can really have fun with it. Thin up, thick down, thin up. These guidelines are really helpful. I wouldn't even suggest learning any type of brush letter or thick and thin without them, unless you're a real pro. But that's where I got most of my trouble when I first started learning this, was keeping those slope lines right. Okay, now let's go to the next color, and it's gonna be gray, and we're gonna do double stroke, first stroke. So many of you are familiar with this lettering style. It's essentially any lettering style. This is my rapid capture, so this is my speedy lettering style when I'm working. And the idea is you have a double stroke for that first stroke, meaning you're gonna make it thick there because you're already there. This is the fastest way you can bold your letters as you're graphic recording. Sometimes the S can be a challenge, so I just do the top part. If you're someone that does the cross stroke for the T first, then you'll want to make sure that the stem is the part that is the bold part. So there are some, oops, not my best, W. Same with the Y, not necessarily the first, and then the Z, the one in the middle. Now let's speed things up even more, and let's do architect using the broad edge. So architect, again, we're going to keep that broad edge all the time. What we know about architect is that it's based on straight stems. Circular letters are oval. And second strokes that come down don't come all the way down to the baseline. So you can have some letters that go up what's called stairs. The only cue where I have the tail crossing through. Notice where that R's leg kicks out. You can go up the stairs with these. It's okay to go a little higher. All right, there you have it. 6 lettering styles, 1 marker, 2 nibs. How long did it take me?